The original Digimon Adventure may be one of my favorite shows of all time, despite its numerous flaws and the fact that it was originally made for 8-year-old Japanese children, which is decidedly not my demographic. Hell, even when I saw the show back in 1999, I was probably still too old for it. But whatever, you may as well enjoy yourself and not worry about what you're too old for, because we're all gonna die someday anyway. On that happy note, Digimon Adventure Tri came out recently. I'm not gonna talk about it though. Instead, I'm going to talk about one of the most contentious aspects of the series since its inception, the evolution sequences, and just how often they'd crop up. So what I did was go through each of the original Japanese episodes, find every evolution transformation scene, cut and paste it into its own sequence, and see just how long it came out to. I went frame by frame, making sure to only get the often recycled transformations and not any of the reaction shots, like this one. I also decided to not include the Skull Greymon evolution, considering it was only used a single time. Also, it didn't have the black background or the awkward and dated CGI. After going through all 54 episodes, I found out that the total runtime of all the evolution sequences came out to 56 minutes and 35 seconds. That was actually a bit less than I expected, but still a pretty ridiculous amount of time. In that time, you could work an hour of overtime at your job, help out at a soup kitchen, do some light exercise, or if you're really smart, edit a video about the total time for magical monster transformations in a low-budget show made 16 years ago. While a lot of people remember the evolution scenes being used excessively for filler, they were actually used somewhat sparingly compared to how I remember them. One episode came in at just over 20 seconds of evolving. Episode 40, on the other hand, is the most egregious for this kind of filler, clocking in at 3 minutes and 17 seconds. I guess better that than 6 minutes of this garbage. It's also interesting to note that there wasn't a single episode that didn't have at least one evolution sequence. Even episode 21, where they had a noticeably different animation studio and probably a real budget, but I digress. I decided I'd play the role of Koshiro myself today and did a little math. I've come to the conclusion that the average time spent on the Digimon evolving works out to about 1 minute and 3 seconds per episode. That's a fairly large chunk of time when you consider that you're mostly just watching a black screen with a single character on it for most of these. If we're talking percentage, it's 4.5% of the episode. Let's also take into account the opening theme, the recap, the commercial break bumpers, the ending theme, and the next episode teaser. Combined, those average out to about 4 minutes and 40 seconds per episode. That's about 20% of the runtime. All of this is also based on an average runtime of 23 minutes and 5 seconds, not counting commercials because nobody watches TV anymore. So what I'm taking away from all this is that the evolution sequences in the first Digimon Adventure at least weren't all that bad, and it's only 1/4 as much filler as the rest of those things I just mentioned. The evolutions are a bit of a time waster, yes, and you better get used to hearing Miyazaki Ayumi's Braveheart. But hey, after years of nobody speculating just what the real amount of time wasted on these monsters evolving was, at least now it's got a tangible number. So, I guess you can put that on a wiki or something if you want. Do I really have nothing better to do with my time?